A heat wave is on its way, so we're going to tell you how to stay cool here while hiking.
As we're getting into the warmer summer months, we're anticipating these getting more and more out of control.
And several fires burn across San Diego County. What fire officials believe is the cause of a massive brush fire in Oceanside.
And we revisit the Cedar Fire, a day when my wife Heather and photojournalist Scott Hall were on the front lines and at one point had to run.
Day one of an excessive heat warning will start tomorrow, and it's going to last at least through Sunday as those hot temperatures affect mainly our mountains and deserts, but we're all going to feel the heat over the coming week. It's Monday, July 10th at 6 a.m., and you're up with CBS 8.
Thanks for joining us here at 6 a.m. on this Monday, everyone. I'm Eric Connard.
And I'm Carrie Lane in for Netta Ranpur. This week, parts of San Diego will experience a heat wave. Meteorologist Evan Irani is here to explain it all, break it down, and tell us where to go for some relief. Good morning.
Boy, inland is going to be a little toasty out there, huh?
Possibility of Ramona. I mean, Ramona, albeit, is rather east, but triple digits for Ramona this week, Friday through Sunday.
No, thank you.
Yeah, and then Western Valleys, 90s are very, very likely. So we will start to see that climb into that warmer than average territory. You heard me just a minute ago mention as early as tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be the first day of an excessive heat warning that applies to our mountains and our deserts in particular. But that heat mainly across our inland valleys is going to be felt closer to the end of the week, that Wednesday through Sunday or so stretch. For today, we're still pretty mild. 70s along the coast to 80s inland, stretching from 85 degrees across our valleys to the upper 80s for the mountains. 108 for the deserts, climbing by another 10 degrees between today and the upcoming weekend. So it is going to be hot. Most spots will be about 10 to 20 degrees warmer than normal by the time we get to the end of the week, but the coastline is still going to remain mild, largely because of this. You've got cloud cover overhead there. Sunrise was just about 10 minutes ago, but we are going to have some sunlight beaming down on us very shortly. It's just going to take some time for that marine layer to pull back, and that's part of the reason why the coast stays a little cooler. Back to you.
All right, so it is going to be a very hot week across the county, as Evan just told us. Local officials already taking some action. There are going to be hiking trails that will be closed this week due to that heat.
And this means people will have to find alternative trails to enjoy the great outdoors here. CBS 8's Chris Groh working for you here live in Rancho Penasquitos this morning. Some advice for folks as we get into these hot temps here, Chris.
It's all about adjusting and adapting, right? Trying to find the right trails for you, especially in this weather that we have, and also making sure that even on maybe an easier trail or one that's not in as hot of an area, that you're still prepared. Now, let's go over the trails that are closed. In fact, we're going to look out east for this one, for both of these, I should say. So due to the heat in the Cleveland National Forest, Cedar Creek Falls and Three Sisters Falls will be closed through July 13th. Now, as for anyone who's going to be out and about during these next couple of days, remember, peak heat hours are usually around lunchtime from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. But we also know that they can extend beyond that too, and it doesn't have to be during the peak heat hours for you to run into a situation where you are exposed to way too much heat. So what else can you do? Well, bring plenty of water. Make sure that you have enough for how long that you are going. If you start to hit that halfway point in your canteen, maybe it's time to turn around if you are too far from the end. Dress for the occasion. Light colors, not too many layers. Make sure your phone is charged completely. Listen to your body if you feel tired and you're not done. Also, that's a good time to turn around. No sense in pushing it. Also, try to hydrate the day before. But take a listen to what first responders said in a Twitter video that was put out by San Diego County Sheriff's Department about how rescues can impact the rest of local law enforcement and as well as first responders in their responses to other things.
We have had many rescue calls where folks simply get tired and call for help. This takes away valuable resources from other rescues and potentially from fire response. We want folks to prepare so that they don't get in these situations. We're happy to be out there helping folks, but ultimately a lot of these rescues are preventable.
Yeah, and a lot of the prevention can be done way ahead of time. Like I said, make sure you hydrate the day before. And generally, if you're out on a hike and you start to become extremely thirsty, that's when you know it's already too late. So probably, again, a good time to find some shade, take a rest, try to get that water in you, and then head back when you start to feel ready. Or, again, potentially make that turnaround sooner than later. And, of course, for more tips about also where to go to enjoy some of the hikes we have here in San Diego County, just go to CBS8.com. Eric and Carrie.
Thank you, Chris. The good news is we have plenty of options here in San Diego. So with the heat wave coming to San Diego in full force this week, we are working for you and sharing ways that you can stay safe in this heat off the trails.
Yeah, extreme heat can impact our heart, lungs, and kidneys. It can also lead to mental fog, which impacts our work. Doctors say when it's hot, it's important to drink lots of water. You should take frequent breaks in the shade. Avoid strenuous outdoor activities, especially between 1 and 3 p.m., and wear light-colored, lightweight, and loose-fitted clothing. Doctors also say to avoid alcohol because it is dehydrating.
Great advice. Meantime, 2 fires are burning in San Diego County near Potrero Valley Road. Now, the fire has burned 64 acres and is 10% contained. That's according to the latest update from San Diego Cal Fire. Then in Oceanside, a brush fire is 70% contained this morning. That's according to the Oceanside Fire Department. Also this morning, firefighters have stopped the Oceanside fire spread. They first got a word of that fire just before 2:30 yesterday afternoon. This is near Mission Avenue and Frazee Road. First responders, they had to evacuate the North Town Center shopping area. Both sides of State Route 76 also had to be shut down. As of right now, all roads are back open. That is great news. The Oceanside Fire Department believes the fire started in a homeless encampment.
Large population of homeless that have been entrenched down there for quite a time. Obviously, we see these types of fires frequently. They just generally don't get this big. But as we're getting into the warmer summer months, we're anticipating these getting more and more out of control.
Some viewers reached out to CBS 8 and say fires like these have been happening a lot recently. No homes were threatened by the flames. And right now, warnings and evacuation orders have been lifted after a fire burned near Potrero Valley Road. The forward progress is now stopped after burning 64 acres. Evacuation orders were put in place yesterday afternoon, directing people to Steele Canyon High School. Crews remain on scene to work on containment lines and mop up what's left of this fire.
This morning, an investigation is underway after a small plane crashed in a La Mesa neighborhood. This happened yesterday off of Lake Murray Boulevard. The pilot and co-pilot were taken to the hospital with moderate injuries. The plane ripped down power lines and knocked down part of a fence before landing in a canyon about 50 feet down. Fire crews rescued the 2 men within about 40 minutes.
And all the other neighbors were out here and watching it as well. And then there's like, no, a plane crash. I'm like, that was very scary and shocking. So everyone's just right now in shock because this is a quiet community and nothing like this ever happens.
The FAA is now leading an investigation into what caused the plane to crash. This morning, we now know the names of the people who died in Saturday's plane crash in Riverside County. Here they are on your screen here. None of them listed as living in San Diego. They were killed Saturday morning when a Cessna crashed just outside the French Valley Airport in Murrieta, missing the runway by about 500 feet. NTSB investigators say that a foggy marine layer formed in the area, causing low visibility right before the pilot planned to land. The NTSB and the FAA are both investigating the crash. We spoke with a local commercial pilot who has more than 42 years of flying experience. He says from what he's seen and heard about the weather conditions at the time of landing, the pilot should not have attempted to land.
The weather was not cooperating, and any attempt to get into French Valley was foolish, stupid, and if this was a charter flight where the people pay to fly, it was an illegal attempt.
We will continue to provide you any updates on this plane crash right here at CBS 8 and on CBS8.com.
This morning, 2023 is on track to be one of the hottest years on record. So last month, scientists say that Earth experienced its warmest June on record by quite a bit. Surface temperatures in the ocean also reached record levels. Last Wednesday and Thursday tied for the hottest days ever recorded on Earth. A climate scientist says there is a connection of record heat and record air travel.
Those airplanes weren't by themselves weren't causing climate change. They're only 3 or 4% of the problem, but they're indicative of why it is that things have gotten out of control.
This comes as parts of the Southwest will likely experience excessive heat warnings this entire week. Phoenix has already hit at least 110 degrees every day this month. That is extremely hot. I've actually been in Arizona when it was 121 degrees.
Oh.
I feel like once you're 110 and over, though, it just sucks no matter what. It just all feels hot, whether it's 110, 121, it's miserable.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why a lot of people are going to be headed to the coast. That's going to be the place to find some relief from those possible triple-digit temperatures that we could see as early as about Friday, it looks like, across areas like Ramona. But mountains and deserts could come a bit earlier. I mean, we're already in the triple digits out there across most of our deserts, Borrego Springs, Ocotillo Wells, and the farther east you go, that's where that heat is felt. Let's switch over to our graphics here. Got cloudy skies to start off the morning. Another view from La Jolla. Afternoon high, 60s for La Jolla, PB, 73 for San Diego, 78 for La Mesa, 84 for Santee and El Cajon as their forecast high. So you see how that discrepancy comes about when you factor in the sea breeze along the coastline, the marine layer that starts off each morning, meaning that cloud cover. Well, that's going to keep us cooler along the coast. And then you start to move inland, Santee and El Cajon making their way into the mid-80s for this afternoon. Though today remains pretty mild, so keep that in mind, that even though, yeah, it's pretty warm out there for Escondido, for Poway today, for Ramona at 89, all of these temperatures, at least aside from the coast, everywhere east of the coast, are still expected to climb by another 10 degrees between today and our upcoming Friday. Widespread 90s expected in this area, and then good chance of about 101 as that forecast high for Ramona going into Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Let's take a look across the mountains and deserts. 86 for Julian and Mount Laguna today, 91 for Campo, 109 in Borrego Springs, and Ocotillo Wells 108. And these temperatures are going to be easily in the 1-teens by about midweek, climbing upwards of 115, closer to 120 even as we get into the end of the week. So here's that 10-day temperature trend. You can see how, for the most part, and this is on average between your coastline and your inland valleys, today is the coolest day. We warm up quite a bit for tomorrow all the way through the end of the week, and then start to see a more mild cool down going into the beginning and middle portion of next week. Walking out the door right now, though, you're in the 60s for the most part, many 50s scattered inland, 59 for Escondido, 50 right now, a little bit chillier in Ramona, 61 for El Cajon, 62 for Del Mar walking out the door. And that surf forecast still pretty enjoyable. Risk of rip currents has been moderate. It remains moderate. Water temperature has been moving, ebbing and flowing between about 64 degrees and 67 degrees, but it's still cold out there in the water, and you're only looking at about 1 to 3 foot waves. Good chance that today into tomorrow will start to climb to maybe 2 to 4 foot waves. That is still not all that dramatic, and that risk of rip currents remains pretty mild. Let's take a look at your border wait times from the CBP website. Traffic this morning, 90-minute wait right now for the San Ysidro Port of Entry, 30-minute wait for the Otay Mesa Port of Entry. That's all we got for this morning. CBS8.com/traffic has more. I'll send things back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Evan. Coming up, the controversial decision President Biden has made in the Russia and Ukraine war.
And deadly, intense flooding leaving parts of New York in a state of emergency this morning. Plus, why more than 200 law enforcement officers in Northern California are looking for this man.